Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
With NWKS Radio News, I'm Lucas Kenny. Many of the area towns have spring cleanup dates set to take items that you've just been waiting to get rid of. The dates will vary. Some cities will have you call in advance, and not all items will be taken. If you know of other spring cleanups in the local area, feel free to contact Lucas at nwksradio.net with any information you may have, and you can find the full list that we do have on our local news page. In other news, Lieutenant Governor and Secretary of Commerce David Toland announced $16.3 million is available to improve broadband infrastructure through the Broadband Acceleration Grant Program. This program is designed to offset high costs that are required for building networks in places where distance and low population density make private investment difficult to attain. The Office of Broadband Development will host a kickoff webinar at 1 p.m. on Monday, April 27th. Make sure to keep up to date with all the local news on our website at nwksradio.net.
Today, a red flag warning will be in place in eastern Colorado. Adjacent counties in Kansas have the potential for near critical fire weather conditions this afternoon. Skies will be mostly sunny, highs around 75, southeast winds at 15 to 25, gusting to 35 miles per hour. Tonight, increasing clouds, southwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour, and lows in the lower 40s. Tomorrow will be cloudier and colder with highs in the 50s, northeasterly winds at 10 to 20 miles per hour, with chances for light rain increasing as the day moves along. Saturday night and Sunday, showers and storms are likely, highs around 55, east-southeasterly winds at 10 to 20 miles per hour and lows in the mid-30s. Monday will be windy with chances for rain continuing, northwest winds gusting 20 to 40 miles per hour, highs will still be in the 50s, while overnight lows will flirt with freezing temperatures. This meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Here's a bright idea. Kansas deserves fiber internet. Not just Kansas City and Wichita. Little places like Buhler. That's where we started. IdeaTech provides high-speed fiber internet to 75 communities and counting. We're working to bring fiber to as many towns in Kansas as we can. High-speed internet shouldn't just be for the big cities. Another bright idea from IdeaTech.
Get IdeaTech fiber internet at ideatech.com.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
It's the spring show, of the Girls' Day Out this Saturday in Oakley. 2 buildings at the Western Vista Complex and Logan County 4-H building in Oakley. Free admission, concessions, over 100 booths and outdoor vendors, a lot of specials going on. Things you can win, like the duck hunt is back with even more prizes. They'll have that train going back and forth between the 2 buildings. A lot of specials. It's this Saturday, come and go, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Girls' Day Out in Oakley at the Logan County Fairgrounds.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They even have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
I'm old, I'm white, and I don't understand any of it.
The High Plains only local sports talk show, broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sky is everywhere.
Covering it all from the preps to the pros.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City!
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, along with
Pestaway LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, and the Insurance Agency.
Let's go to work. 2-2. Mickey drives it. Deep right center field. Is it another 2-homer day? It is. Touch 'em all time into the Padre bullpen.
Been pretty nice so far down here in Holcomb. It's the first pitch. It's Heston Henry who goes out and hits one in the gap in right center field. It's going to roll up and get near the fence. Big Heston chugging into second base. It is a stand-up double. Heston Henry, have yourself a day, young man.
With the 6th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Mansour Delane, defensive back, LSU. With the 29th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Peter Woods, defensive tackle, Clemson.
Happy Friday morning, everybody. We are back on the Morning Blitz. Ross Volkmer, Garrett, Wellbrock. Glad to be with you on this April the 24th. A cooler start to the day after a little system blew through. Temperatures sitting in around the upper 30s as we get today rolling here on the high plains. We'll have a little bit cooler day, temps in the mid 70s, and there is a chance of the wet stuff coming up here Saturday night into Sunday, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I probably would be dead, Garrett. I'd say I got to. It's story time with Ross here, so I got to get this off my chest. First of all, how are you this morning? You doing well? You having a good day?
Yes, I am. Happy Friday. It's always a good day when it's Friday.
Got big plans this weekend there?
I don't know. Just a chill weekend. I think I'm actually gonna hit the links today for the first time all year. So
there we go.
This afternoon. Yep.
All right. Well, good. There was some links. There were some links yesterday in local sports. We'll hit that a little bit later on. But yeah, it's story time with me. So so yesterday, as you know, I was down in Holcomb covering Goodland baseball. Had baseball coverage yesterday, and it was one of those series that we kind of got into a little bit earlier this week, talking about, you get into some of these games where you run out of pitching and you don't quite have the arms that can throw the strikes. We were talking about that, and you said you even see that at the D2 level.
Yep.
It was one of those days, my friend. And from a broadcaster's perspective, when you call those games, it's one of those days you're just like, what am I doing? You question your living.
Those are not fun. Not at all.
26-16 in 5 innings was the score of game number 2. The Cowboys were swept, by the way, at Holcomb. They lost 12-2 and 26-16. But 26-16 is the game I'm talking about. I've got, you were talking to me after the show yesterday. You wanted to do ridiculous stats, and I said, love it. Well, I've got some for you. Here's some ridiculous stats for you, my friend. Are you ready? Strap in, friends. Particularly you baseball nuts out there. You'll love this. In the game against Holcomb, in this 26-16 ball game that I witnessed, that took 2.5+ hours to play. Oh, my goodness. And once again, didn't even play the full 7 innings. But there were a total of, let's see, that would be 18 free passes, 18 walks in that game. And I was going to count how many hit by pitches. 1, 2, 3. That's 7 and 6. 13 hit by pitches combined. And once again, a total of 18 walks. 13 and 18 is what? 34? Is that correct? I think it is. Yes. No. 31. 31. I would consider free bases, either hit by a pitch or walks in yesterday's loss for the Cowboys.
You
It's
said it
combined
was-
between Holcomb and Goodland.
You said it was 26-16?
26-16. That's
You
right.
might get some scores in the fall in football that are
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. But and from the player's perspective, you don't think about it. You're out there, you're playing the game, you're trying your hardest. From the broadcaster's perspective, you're sitting there thinking, "What are we doing?"
Pretty much.
That was. I've had everyone always asks, what have been some of the tougher games? That would be up there. That'd make the top 5 in Ross Volkmer's realm of doing games over the last not quite 2 decades, about a decade and a half now. So that was rough last night, my friend. So be thankful you were not with me covering that game. And the weather was so weird. It started out beautiful day, sun shining, your typical beautiful weather. And then all of a sudden you kind of see off to the west, something's kind of building up, but it doesn't rain in Western Kansas. So pretty much all that happens is it just gets gray, cloudy, and instead of raining, it just blows through with a whole bunch of wind for, a good half hour. And then the temperatures drop after that system goes through. So then it's about 12 to 15 degrees cooler with no sun, and the wind just continues to blow straight out of the north. So it's one of those games where, as a broadcaster, you've probably been here before, you're sitting there and you're kind of like shivering a little bit. You're a little cold. Oh, man. Been through many of those myself where it's a little chilly. That was a tough one last night. A tough one on multiple levels.
Sounds like it.
So story time with Ross is over, but that was a tough one there last night. Once again, the Cowboys swept by Holcomb, 2 young baseball teams that you could definitely tell were young and lacked pitching depth, and the game certainly played out like that. But today's program, we are going to be joined by, we're supposed to be joined. I hope he's well joined. He was up late last night. I can guarantee that, doing draft coverage for ChiefsBlitz.com. Nick Athen will join us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Look forward to visiting with Nick about the first round of the NFL draft, particularly with the Chiefs' first 2 selections, which we will get into in just a little bit. But we'll get to that. We'll have some picks. We have picks of the weekend, right?
We do.
Yes. All right. So for the return of picks of the weekend.
Some college baseball. There's a couple of big series this weekend, including the Sunflower Showdown. That's
this
weekend.
Huge.
And then some NBA as well. Some
Awesome.
NBA games.
Picks of the weekend with Garrett Wellbrock coming up here in segment 3. So we got a full show ahead today. F&B Bank text line 785-899-2222. I tell you what, we have Officer Jared that has offered up another question on Dear Ross. Do you mind if we get to an edition of Dear Ross here quickly, Garrett?
Let's do it.
Let's get to an edition of Dear Ross here on the Morning Blitz. All right, so here on Dear Ross, the question is, numerous sports pundits have the Denver Nuggets getting to the NBA Finals. They're down 2-1 to the Timberwolves. Nikola Jokic looked like he's ready to head back to Serbia to be with horses. Do you think they can come back, or is this season almost done? Well, I don't know what you think, Garrett, but I'll say this. I will say that in watching the little bit of it was the second game of that series. I got to catch a little bit of that. I was watching. I am not going to lie. I thought the Joker looked disinterested in being there. He really looked like he did not want to be there. He was not. He was kind of chucking up shots that looked short. I don't know if he's exhausted or worn out, or what. But I just don't think there is enough around the Joker personally to make it to the NBA Finals.
I'd agree with that. And it's kind of odd because that was what they went into the offseason and got. They went and got a lot of, role players around him. But, yeah, they're not playing well right now. Like Christian Brown last night scored 2 points.
Oh, my.
Nuggets didn't even lead one time in that game. That was probably their worst game of the year. And, yeah, their backs are against the wall now. They must win game 4.
Yeah, they're going to have to win. I just don't know if there's enough around him. Jamal Murray's really good and the Joker's really good, but I don't know. Is there third guy, which I'm guessing you'd say is Aaron Gordon? I'm guessing that's the number 3 guy. I just don't know if he is enough. I think they need more around him. And so I don't know. Christian Brown needs to produce more, like you said. That would be a huge help there. But yeah, the Joker is so good, and I would agree. He's been he's the best player in the game, or has been one of the best players in the game for many years. He just looked disinterested, and you get into you look at kind of the Chiefs, for example, here this year. The Chiefs had a really bad year. The amount of times that you go to the playoffs and you have deep playoff runs, it wears on you over a certain amount of time. That might be happening to the Nuggets here. They've had multiple years where they've had deep playoff runs. Their guys are kind of getting older, and this can be a hard thing to overcome. And so I don't know. I don't feel great about it with how they've looked. I think in this series against the T-Wolves. Now it will not surprise me with their backs against the wall they come back and take Game 4, but I don't know. It doesn't look good, especially if your best player and one of the best players in the league looks disinterested. I think it's a bad look.
Yeah, and the T-Wolves are doing a great job of defending the Joker as well. Like, you got Rudy Gobert on him, who has been a defensive player of the year before, and it seems to me that they keep stunting like doubles at him as well. So they're making him pass the ball up and making the other guys shoot, and the other Nuggets players are not making their shots. I mean, Jokic isn't shooting that well either. I think he was like 6 for 27 last night. Like, he hasn't shot well the last 2 games, so he's going to have to shoot better, but it's just an all-around effort that they're going to have to start to play better. And like he mentioned, in Game 4, you have to win. You can't go down 3-1.
No. Well, this is the best of 7, right? Not 5. Okay, I got to remember that, because I know in baseball sometimes early on it's the best of 5, isn't it?
Yep, the division series in baseball is best of 5.
Yep. Thank you. Like I said, sometimes I get those all messed up in my small brain that I have. Let's continue here. Officer Jared said Gordon is the number 3 guy, but he is hurt. Larry said he confirmed that he was out last night with a calf injury. So, thank you there, Jared, for another edition of Dear Ross here in the Blitz. All right, let's talk some NFL draft. A first-round reaction from the NFL draft. No surprise, Fernando Mendoza to going with the first selection there to the Raiders. What stood out to you overall, before we dive into the Chiefs, what stood out to you overall about the first round? Maybe it was a player going someplace or a team moving. What was the big thing for you?
Well, I mean, obviously, I do think the Chiefs moving up was a surprise to some. Yep. But like we said, we'll get into the Chiefs here in a little bit. But Ty Simpson going in the first round that early was really a shock to me.
Yeah, Lucas on our text line says he wanted to know what our thoughts were on that, since we weren't very hot. I was not very hot on him, at least as a prospect. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, like I said, I was like 60-40 on him. Like, I have a little belief, but I do think he's like a work of art. Like, he's got a lot of work
he's
on.
He's a work in progress guy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So he's got some work to do, but if you can sit behind Stafford for a little bit, I can understand what they're doing. I just feel like 13th pick. I mean, maybe if it was a second or third round, you would have gone and got him, but I don't know. That was the biggest shocker to me, as well as Reuben Bain going all the way down to 15.
That was a big one.
I thought the Chiefs were going to go at 6 and get him, and no, he dropped almost 10 more spots.
I would agree. That was a huge surprise to me to see Reuben Bain drop that far, all the way down to 15. I think he's a freak. He can really move for a guy his size. So that to me was a surprise. I really liked it. If you ask me what are some moves I really liked Arvell Reese from Ohio State going to the Giants with John Harbaugh. I think he'll fit perfectly there. Harbaugh's always had great defenses in his time at Baltimore, and Arvell Reese is a really good player. Some people considered him, at least ESPN considered him, the best prospect overall in the draft, no matter what position was, and he slipped to them at 5. So that's pretty sweet for them. I thought that was a great pickup there. The Chiefs and the Cowboys were the 2, I think, biggest movers in the first round. The Chiefs traded up, and if the Chiefs trade up, and I loved it on social media, I was following while I was calling the game, and there's tweets going out saying, the Chiefs are moving up. They must found someone they absolutely love. Get ready. If you're moving up and you're the Chiefs and Brett Veach, because Brett Veach has the equity to go out and when he makes moves, you're like, okay, he knows what he wants and he's like, I mean, to get Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU, they must really love him to replace that secondary that they've got to kind of restock a little bit. So they love that move. The Cowboys getting Caleb Downs to fall to them at number 11 was really big. People thought he'd be a top 10 pick. And then they traded back up in the first round to get Malachi Lawrence, who I never even heard about at UCF. So they must really love him, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought the Chiefs, that you have to love Delane to go get him, obviously. And he does fit the scheme well, just like seeing some film. Like he can play zone, he can play man, he can do a little bit of everything and do it well at that. So I'm not like, I know a lot of people on Chiefs Twitter are kind of mad about it instead of going and getting Reuben Bain or Caleb Downs, but I think he will fit the scheme pretty well. Another winner for the first round I would go with are just the New York teams. You kind of mentioned the Giants a little bit. The Jets, I thought, had a pretty good first round. They had 3 picks. They went and got some weapons, and they got David Bailey with the number 2. I think he's going to be a stud out of Texas Tech. So the New York teams had a really good first round yesterday.
Yeah, David Bailey went number 2. Then they got, this is we're talking the Jets, and then they went and got Sadiq, who is the freak tight end. He is no doubt the best tight end in this very good tight end class. And then at the end of the first round and third, they picked Omar Cooper Jr. out of Indiana, who had a really quiet, great career there at Indiana. I would agree. That was a great draft. I mean, on paper, it looks really good for the Jets. One more quick one before we get into the Chiefs, though. How about the Notre Dame running back room? You know, with Jadarian Price going 32nd to the Seahawks, and of course Jeremiah Love, but taken in the 3rd selection by the Cardinals.
Pretty awesome. Pretty good running back room right there.
You can go recruit with that. Hey, did you have to see the 2026 draft? We had 2 first-round selections. I mean, I think it was the highest they've had. It was the first time ever that 2 running backs were taken from the same school in the first round. First time ever.
That's crazy.
That's ever happened. Oh, anyway, so let's move on to the Chiefs here real quickly. The Chiefs, which we'll talk more in depth with, of course, with our good friend Nick Athen coming up here in about 10 minutes. But the Chiefs, Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU, they moved up a couple of spots to pick him at 6. And then the Chiefs later on took Clemson defensive tackle Peter Woods. What were your thoughts on the moves from the Chiefs taking these 2 gentlemen in the first round?
I kind of mentioned a little about Delane. Like, I do think he fits the scheme really well. I still was really high on Caleb Downs if you were going to go in a secondary position. But Delane was probably the second best option there. So you really can't complain. Now, I did kind of like you said, Reuben Bain was right there.
Yeah.
I think if he becomes what we think he can, that will be one of those what ifs type of things.
Take him.
and the same thing for Peter Woods. Like, I think he's a good player. I was just shocked that they went interior defensive line and not try to get a pass rusher. They must have a lot of confidence in Karlaftis to kind of a bounce back season if they weren't going to go get a defensive end.
You know, the Chiefs, I think defensively have proven that you can get pressure on the quarterback through the interior with Chris Jones. They've proved that a lot. Jones has been unbelievable. And I don't know, he's he's a fringe Hall of Famer the way Chris Jones has performed for the Chiefs. And Peter Woods, maybe I think they're looking for a guy to maybe get in there next to him and maybe push Jones out a little bit, make him more of an edge rusher possibly. We'll see. Maybe they're going to make a change there defensively. I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs are like, we're going to take the best defensive lineman that they have left in the draft, and we're going to take this guy here in Peter Woods, who pretty athletic guy. You know, usually if you're a guy that wears, you know, one of those low digit numbers on the defensive line, that usually means either you're super huge and you don't move, or you are a guy who actually moves pretty well. So Peter Woods, I think, is as a guy, and I'm sure they're probably thinking, you know, we don't have too many more years left of Chris Jones. We got to find someone that's close to him, and maybe this is the closest comp that they saw in the draft to him, maybe.
And I think, like, you know, 2 months ago, I would have imagined Peter Woods was a little higher up on the draft board. So I'm not saying he fell by any means like crazy, but I do think they got good value out of him getting him at the 29th, because he could have easily gone higher.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they did get a great value out of him. So yeah, I think that I think once again, they're kind of looking for someone that's going to take over for Chris Jones in the future. And maybe this is a guy that Chris can help groom a little bit as Chris gets towards the tail end of his career, and they can figure that out. And then they needed someone to replace. And why can't I think of the cornerback for the Chiefs that they got rid of? That went
McDuffie.
Thank you. They needed someone to get rid of Trent McDuffie and replace him. And they went and got Mansour Delane. And it's proven you can put a rookie out there that's got high skills. And Delane is a guy who won multiple All-America honors. He had so many postseason accolades. It's ridiculous. And he played at LSU, where they're going up against some of the best wide receivers in the country night in and night out, and even in their own practices all the time there at LSU. And so he'll be ready to go. That'll be interesting to see for sure. But yeah, that was my thought. They had to find they must have loved Delane. Must have just absolutely loved him to trade up 3 spots to get him. And then, you know, My guess is they were sitting there at 29, and I'm with you. Ruben Bang would have been an interesting pickup. It really would have been. But maybe this whole incident of off the field stuff has spooked some teams. I mean, it definitely has, obviously, hasn't it? I mean, it spooked some teams with this car wreck incident thing that's come to light. That's apparently spooked some teams, because I could have swore he would have gone in the top 10.
I'd agree. And that's something I kind of want to ask Nick Athen if he is able to join the show today, because it wasn't just the Chiefs that were worried about it. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, he went 7th and the Chiefs missed out. Like, no, he dropped 10 more spots. So a lot of other teams were concerned as well.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting it's always interesting to see, and it's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You can have a team that sits there and says, well, we don't like this guy for this reason, but the next team up is like, we love this guy. We think he's amazing. And who knows what each team is seeing at this point in time in each of these guys. But the Chiefs make 2 selections, and like I said, when I saw that they were trading up, I was like, here comes a splash of some sort. And once again, I'm not saying that Delane is not a splash, but I was thinking it's going to be something ridiculous. Like, they love something, they're going after it. And who knows? The Chiefs have been one of these teams with underneath Brett Veach. They have proven to be able to prove that, hey, that we can go after. We know what we want, and we're confident in that we can turn these guys into the guys that we want them to be. And we can have success. And they've proven that over the last handful of years, pretty much ever since they picked Patrick Mahomes, they have been able to go out and do that. And so the fans and the pundits around Kansas are like, well, in Brett Veach, we trust. Whatever you say, Brett, go on ahead, buddy. Whatever you got. If these are the guys you think are the best, go ahead. I mean, to imagine having that kind of power there, if you are Brett Veach, where you don't really get questioned on what you're doing in the draft, because you've had so much success in it here the last handful of years.
Yeah, they've done a really good job in the draft, and that's kind of how I am. I mean, I'm a Chiefs fan, so obviously you just trust the process. You trust the guys that are in the boardroom that are doing the draft, and you just got to trust the coaching staff and the front office and what they're doing. And I mean, they've done a great job. We've won 3 Super Bowls in the past 7 years it's been.
Yep. It's been an impressive run, no doubt about it. Second round and third round coming up today. Any names that you're looking at that you're like, hey, who's coming off the board here in the second round? I'm interested to see where they go.
Not particularly anybody specific, but I do think the Chiefs will probably maybe look in the offensive realm a little bit, especially at a skill position, because that's been something that's been thin here lately, especially at receiver or maybe a backup tight end. Who knows what their plan is? We talked a little bit yesterday how deep the tight end class is.
Yep.
Well, Eli Stowers, who we talked about too, he could be a possibility later on. And so who knows what the second and third rounds offer. But I do think the Chiefs possibly could go offensive in this in today.
Yep, we'll see. I'm interested in seeing where I'm just going to play the homer card here. My boy, Nebraska's own Emmett Johnson goes. If he goes in the second or third round, it may be a day 3 thing for him too. I'm not going to say that he gets picked today, but I'd be interested to see if he does get a chance to go there. Yeah, we'll see. And of course, the Broncos get their first selection today. That is the 30th pick of the second round. So they have to still wait a little bit more before they get, unless they want to trade up here in the second round for someone. But we'll see. And we'll see who the next quarterback taken off the board is in the second round. Will it be Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Aller, Carson Beck, or somebody not mentioned in the second round? All right, let's get to our first time out. Nick Athen is up. I see him. He is awake. I didn't know if he would be. He had a late night last night, but he says he is ready to roll. So Nick Athen will join us after the break. We'll get his thoughts on what the Chiefs did and other thoughts from the first round of the NFL draft last night. Keep it here. You're listening to a Friday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Got your tax refund? Don't blow it. Upgrade it at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Get into a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $7,000 in rebates or 2.9% for 48 months. Or into a 26 GMC Sierra 2500, $1,000 rebate or 4.9% for 48 months. And the 26 GMC Acadia 2.9% APR plus $750 in rebates with GM Financial. Your refund won't last, but a new GMC will. Stop by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or visit hurlchev.com.
We've been serving ag families for generations because we believe farming isn't just a job, it's a legacy. Whether you're just starting out or expanding your operation, F&B Bank has flexible lending solutions designed for you. This is Loan Officer Kennedy Frank at F&B Bank. We're proud to be your hometown ag lender, member FDIC.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, Jared Law with the Andersons in Overland Park, Kansas with your morning market update. It's Friday, April 24th in the overnight session. May corn up a penny and a quarter at 4.56 3/4. July at 4.65 3/4. September up 1 3/4 at 4.70 1/4, and December up 2 at 45 1/2. Soybeans on the May up 3/4, 11.60 1/2. July up half cent, 11.75 1/4. November down a quarter of a cent at 11.54 3/4. KC wheat on the May down 4, 6.62 3/4. July down 5 1/2, 6.73 3/4. September down 5 3/4 at 6.85. December down 4 3/4 at 6.99 3/4. Chicago wheat, either side of unchanged at 6.10 1/2. Feeder cattle finished yesterday 3.66, 62 1/2. Live cattle 247.07 1/2. Lean hogs 95.65. Crude oil futures up 30 cents a barrel at 96.15. Gold futures down 13.10 an ounce at 4,694.30. Silver up 9 cents at 75.60. U.S. dollar index down 10 points, 98.50. Dow futures down 59 at 49,431. S&P futures up 16, 7,160. If you need to move any cash, grain, or want to talk about risk management, you can reach out to myself, Jared Law, Tom Sluter, or Tyler Gosch, 913-748-3000. If you're out in Colorado, you can reach out to John Hinkey or John Salz at 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Determining what products work on your farm is our specialty at C-Tech Genetics. We used our robust research system testing on our customers' farms to carve out acres that our new biological planter box treatment Vigor Shield Accelerator has the most impact. That data allowed us to carve out a warranty in the southern tier counties in Nebraska and most of Kansas. If it doesn't pay back, you get paid for the product. Call us at 800-529-4353 or visit ctech.com. That's SEITEC.com for more information.
At Thrasher Foundation Repair, we promise you an experience so remarkable, you'll want to leave us a 5-star review. From wet basements to bowing walls, sinking concrete to nasty crawl spaces, whatever your home's facing, you can count on Thrasher to fix it right. With over 34,000 5-star reviews and 50 years as a local family-owned company, Thrasher is a name homeowners trust. Schedule your free home inspection today at gothrasher.com.
Thrasher. Breaking down the plays, the players, and the passion.
Who's got it better than us?
Nobody! This is the Morning Blitz.
All right, continuing here on the Morning Blitz, 7:36 Mountain, 8:36 Central Time on Friday, April the 24th. Once again, temps going to be in the 70s today. We'll have picks of the weekend coming up here after our conversation with Nick Athen in just a matter of seconds. Quickly, FB Bank text line. People firing out texts about the draft yesterday. Jared H. says, I'm good but not overly excited about the Chiefs' first-round picks. Really thought they traded for Bain, but I do like the Delane pick. I hope they get one of the 2 remaining edge rushers with pick number 40, says that. So let's see. Michael, of course, our resident Broncos fanatic. He goes, Chiefs could have picked the cornerback at 9. They wasted picks. Then, of course, Broncos going to draft Jacob Rodriguez 62 and make big trades for Kyle Pitts. Okay, he goes, Broncos won the first round by getting Jaden Waddle. Yes, we know, Michael. Everything is rainbows and candy there in Bronco land for you, understandably so. Let's welcome in the program our good friend Nick Athen from Chiefs Blitz. Good morning, amigo. How are we doing today?
What's up, gentlemen? How are you guys doing?
We're probably better than you. I saw you were up late last night with draft coverage. You had the specs on. You were in draft mode with your crew there at chiefsblitz.com, but you were having a good time. So, yeah, how are we feeling post first round for the Chiefs?
Well, I mean, I just posted an article at chiefsblitz.com so people can check it out. But, I give them pretty high marks. I mean, my affection for Brett Veach and this coy misdirection general manager that we've been blessed to have since he basically held the organization hostage to draft Patrick Mahomes. I love the pick. I love both the picks, and I'll tell you why. First, you get arguably the best cornerback in this draft. You've lost McDuffie, you've lost Watson, they lost Cook. I mean, that's 3 starters in your secondary that you lose. And you bring in a guy who is solid in man coverage, can play zone. What I love about him so much is when you watch his film, he's covering one guy, he sees where the ball is going, and he jumps the route. And that's an instinctive player. That's someone who understands the defense and understands, let's go find the ball, track the ball. So I was impressed with him. He's a humble guy. The Chiefs did a really good job. I mean, it was all offensive line they're going to take, which was all BS. We all knew it, but still the media bit and the Chiefs fans were throwing fits. Are they going to really take a tackle? And obviously that wasn't the case. So when you look at Mansour, here's a guy who's going to be an instant starter. He'll play probably opposite Noah Williams, so the Chiefs will go back-to-back years getting their starter quarters. And then Peter Woods, if you look at all the draft prognostications before the college football season started, who was number 1?
Yeah, he was up there.
Peter Woods was the highest-rated draft prospect entering the season. Had he gone to any other school but Clemson, he would have been a top 5 pick. Clemson has the worst coaching staff. They didn't know what to do with these guys. I think for me, this guy can play inside. He can play outside. He's a Chris Jones clone. He's going to get a year tutorship under Jones. Spags is going to be able to use him anywhere. So what you're going to see is you're going to see Karlaftis on one side. You're going to see Norman Lott. You're going to see Parker and Jones on the outside. And that's going to be a pretty formidable front. And then when you add, with the cornerback, what he can do to shut down one side of the field, the Chiefs defense got a lot better. Now, how much remains to be seen? They're rookies, but they're humble kids. They're good kids. They fit the system. They love playing football, and they love the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs drafted them, and they understand the goal is to win Super Bowls.
I have to ask real quickly, what was going through your mind when you saw the Chiefs were trading up? Like initially, you saw it, you saw the tweet, you saw something. What were you like? Because I was like, here we go.
I thought it was going to be Jordan Tyson. I really did. I really wanted them to take care of Patrick Mahomes early in this draft. That didn't happen. There's still hope for day 2, though it's probably pretty difficult. Listen, I loved the pick. I loved the move. My only issue was, and I said on the podcast, and my guys gave me a bunch of crap for it, I didn't like giving up the 3rd round pick, because I think that's a vital piece to what the Chiefs need to do to get 4 starters out of this draft. So now they're going to be hard pressed. So for me, I was excited that they moved up. I wasn't thrilled with giving up the draft selection, but then again, if this is your guy and you want him bad enough, and the Saints were going to take him, just remind you about what they did with Patrick Mahomes. It's like a carbon copy of what happened. And for me personally, terrific pick. I love the camouflage. They didn't bring him in for a top 30 visit. They only Zoomed him a couple of days ago to let him know that they had interest. And he's worked hard. Came from Virginia Tech. You put it all together, and it makes a lot of sense when you look back after it. But at that moment, I was like, oh, they're going to get Jordan Tyson. Oh my God. Can you imagine him with Patrick Mahomes, arguably the best receiver in this draft next to Carnell Tate, and he's sitting right there, and they go corner. And then I was initially a little shocked, and look back on it. It was a terrific pick.
Do you feel like they needed to move up to get him? What did you think it would have been available at 9 if the Chiefs didn't get the 6th?
Yeah, I don't believe that narrative. I don't think there's any way he would have fallen to 9. The New Orleans Saints, they lost 2 starters in their secondary over the last couple of years. They spent a lot of time with him. Obviously, the connection to LSU and New Orleans is pretty strong. I don't think there's any question that he would have gone there. I think Brett Veach said it best when Carnell Tate came off the board early. That's when they knew. I think the Chiefs would have taken Carnell Tate if he'd have fallen. I really believe that. I think it was between one of these two guys, but there's no question New Orleans was gonna draft him. I don't think the Commanders were, in that position. Now, had the Chiefs lost another game and been at the 8th slot, they probably don't make that trade. They probably feel pretty comfortable that they're going to be able to get him. But I talked to several people afterwards, and they were very concerned about the Saints. So I don't think he'd have been there at 9. And, all these, Twitter GMs, or say, well, he would have been there or not. No. Listen, Brett Veach knows what's going on. We can have our opinions, but the bottom line is the Saints were definitely interested.
I mean, we were just talking about this before you came on. I mean, Brett Veach has earned so much equity. And if you're a fan, you're just like, yeah, whatever. As you always say, in Brett Veach, we trust. So yeah, Nick Athen is our guest from Chiefs Blitz here on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on this Friday morning. We were talking about it. Reuben Bain dropped down quite a bit. Were you surprised at that? And were you surprised that maybe the Chiefs didn't want to go get him at some point in time?
I don't think he was ever under any consideration with the Chiefs. There's some character issues. There's some flaws. I don't think the visit went all that well. I like Bain as a player. He's got a long way to go to overcome some issues, with his past. I just don't think the Chiefs want that. And you look at the guys they drafted, high character. They haven't had any trouble in college. They've been good students. They're on pace to graduate. I mean, all these things. And Bain just didn't fit any of those categories. And I don't care about the short arms or any of that other stuff. He was never in serious consideration for Kansas City. He just wasn't the right fit. He's not a Spags pass rusher. He's just, there were too many negatives. Now if he fell to 29, yeah, maybe. But that would have been the only chance.
It seems like now the AFC West with Fernando Mendoza going to the Raiders, it's got to be the toughest division in football when it comes to just quarterbacks. How do the Chiefs kind of go from there now for these last couple of days here in the draft?
Well, Garrett, it's going to be interesting to see, if you look at the quarterback position, I love Mendoza a lot. I think he's going to be a terrific quarterback. If Tom Brady can work with him and is committed to working with him, he'll be probably the second best quarterback in this division at some point. But they've got Kirk Cousins. Are they going to do the Alex Smith Patrick Mahomes route? I personally would. I think it makes a lot of sense to let Kirk Cousins play for a year. Teach this kid how to be a professional. Clearly he had success in college. Clearly he's got a good head on his shoulders. Clearly he's talented, but it's still the Raiders. You still got an organization that has been nothing but a disaster, for decades.
Thank you.
And it's going to be difficult for them to take that leap in that next level. But I think as far as the division goes, I know you're close to the Broncos side of the aisle here when it comes.
Much closer than we are to Kansas City. Yes.
There you go. So listen, I mean, I saw a lot of posts last night where the Chiefs lost. They're still not better than Denver.
There you go.
I mean, we're going to have this debate. It's going to be a lot of fun, but a wounded Chiefs team is probably not very good for the AFC West. So I think it's going to be a competitive season, but you're right. To me, this is the best division in football. It has the potentially the best, some of the best quarterbacks. It's got clearly the best coaches. When you rank them 1 through 4, I mean, you can't go wrong. We've never seen anything like that before. And they're all great, and they all understand their teams. And I think what we saw last year was how chaotic the AFC West was, that a team like the New England Patriots can come out of nowhere and get to the Super Bowl in a year where the top-heavy teams of the past, were pushed down to reality. It's going to be fun, but it's going to be a tough division. And I can't wait for the schedule to come out. I know it's another 3 weeks, but I can't wait.
A couple, Nick Athen, once again, our guest. A couple more questions, just general. First round, anything stand out to you non-Chiefs related, like a guy going somewhere or a guy falling? Was there anything that stood out to you in the first round that was non-Chiefs related?
I love the Jets draft. I don't like the Jets, but you know, they did what I wanted to do. I wanted Sadiq, and I wanted the receiver from Indiana, Cooper as my 9 and 29 picks. It was there for them to take, but Sadiq was just not high enough on the board at that moment to take him. I thought the Jets did really well. I think they stole the first round. I'm really surprised that Jeremiah Love, the marks that experts, quote unquote, have given the Cardinals for taking him were terrible. This is arguably the number one player in this draft. He's going to have the most impact of any player in 2026 as a rookie. And they got bashed for it. So I thought that was interesting. But, you know, I haven't looked enough into what the Chargers, you know, obviously what the Raiders did was with Mendoza. But I think, you know, when you look at the totality of it all, I was not super shocked. I guess the biggest shock was the Chiefs were the first team to make a trade. So I guess that's the biggest takeaway from the first round for me.
Sorry, go ahead, Garrett. My apologies.
Well, the 29th pick, right? The Chiefs take Peter Woods. What should Chiefs fans expect from him and how they're going to use him?
Well, he's a Chris Jones clone. And I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, Chris Jones, this is his last year in Kansas City. That's just all there is to it. You know, there's no way they're going to pay him that kind of money next year. I think he knows it. I think the Chiefs know it. And what's great about Peter Woods, if you actually just look at the film and you kind of ignore the stats, he played 35 or 38% of his snaps as a defensive end. And then they put him inside. And he just has a motor. And, you know, with TJ Parker, I think is his teammate who could be the pick for Kansas City tonight. It would be good to bring these guys together. They played in high school together. They played in college together. Why not have them play in the NFL? But when you look at Woods, you know, he fills the biggest need that they have on the defensive line. Now, they've got Omar Norman-Lott from last year, but he's coming off ACL injury. So this is good. This is a good rotation mix. We all know how Spags does his defensive line. When you get a guy this versatile, he's got speed, he's smart, he's intelligent, he understands how to get pressure. He doesn't give up on plays. That's the reason why Bain never made it to Kansas City. This is a guy who is full speed ahead. And the fact he gets to learn under Chris Jones is very similar to what Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes went through, in my opinion.
Final one for me, Nick. When you look at what's left out there on the board, what are some guys that you're keeping an eye on for the Chiefs later on in the round? This is where I think it'd be so hard once you get past the first round. I don't think we understand as just fans and people how hard it would be to put together a draft board from a team because you just don't know who's going to be there. I mean, if it was a perfect world, you know, well, we love these 10 guys and we're going to take these 10 guys, but you don't know. He could be gone. We got to have backups. It would be it's a complete unbelievable chess match out there in the draft board room.
Yeah, I'm going to give Garrett credit. Eli Stowers to me would be the most impactful offensive pick that they can make. Now, if Denzel Boston falls to the 8th slot in the second round, you run up. I'll run to Pittsburgh and I'll put that up there. That's if they go offense, that's it. But again, I think they should take TJ Parker. And, they'll have two guys that know how to work together. They'll be perfect fits for each other. Now, a lot of people aren't high on Parker. And again, it's that Clemson horrific season and the coaching staff and all the chaos that they had. I don't think there's a sleeper. You know, it depends. Here's the dilemma for the Chiefs. They don't have a third-round pick. So what they could do is they could probably trade back 10 or 15 slots in the second round, still get a quality player, and maybe pick up a pick at the end of the third round. That's probably what they're going to do. But if Boston falls, I would be hard-pressed not taking it. But I think Stowers will have a bigger impact than Boston. So if Stowers If the Chiefs fall back a few slots and they can get Stowers tonight and without a 3rd round pick, I'd be very happy.
Would that be like the same thing as Peter Woods is to Chris Jones as Stowers would be with Kelsey?
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs spent a lot of time with Stowers. A lot of meetings, a lot of Zoom calls, have him work under Travis Kelsey for a year. He could be that he could take the reins from Travis in 2027 or 2028, because I still think Travis is going to play 2 more years. Just a gut instinct. But Stowers under Kelsey would be terrific. And I would love to see that. I think he is the best overall tight end prospect from a true tight end position. Kenyon Sadiq's a little bit different. He's really a tall wide receiver with an incredible amount of gifts. But Stowers can catch, he can block, he's got yak, he understands complex offenses. He's a nightmare matchup. So if Kansas City wants to go bold, again, you've got the perfect setup for him to excel and get a great kickstart to his NFL career working under Travis Kelsey.
Nick Athen, ChiefsBlitz.com. Nick, my friend, always great to catch up. Enjoy the rest of the draft. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
Once again, great stuff there from Nick Athen. Let's take a break. Come back. We'll wrap up the show with a very fast Picks of the Weekend with Garrett Wellbrock. That's next in the Blitz.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pestaway in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pestaway today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
Owners Matt and Michaela Kaus at M&M Supply are up and running at their new location on West Highway 24 in Goodland. Gracious, it's spacious. M&M is your Hustler mower dealer, a big selection of all sizes. They're your Briggs & Stratton, Kawasaki, and Kohler dealer, plus DeWalt cordless lawn tools. They service all brands, and they'll take your trades. Hey, take advantage of their service special going on now at M&M Supply, their new location, 626 West US Highway 24 in Goodland, Kansas. It's the spring show, of the Girls' Day Out this Saturday in Oakley. 2 buildings at the Western Vista Complex and Logan County 4-H building in Oakley. Free admission, concessions, over 100 booths and outdoor vendors, a lot of specials going on. Things you can win, like the duck hunt is back with even more prizes. They'll have that train going back and forth between the 2 buildings. A lot of specials. It's this Saturday, come and go, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Girls' Day Out in Oakley at the Logan County Fairgrounds.
From the headlines to the highlights.
It's good! The Wildcats are champions of the Big 12!
This is the Morning Blitz.
All right, wrapping up a program here on a Friday and a week, too, as a matter of fact, on the Morning Blitz. Real quickly, just some news and notes from yesterday. How about you were talking about going and hitting the links today, Garrett. Yesterday, one of the best golfers in Northwest Kansas, Easton Fink, shot a 2-under-68 to lead the Oakley Plainsmen to a championship there at the Norton Golf Invitational. 2-under-68. This guy can really swing the stick. I've been impressed with his. He's been that good ever since I've been following him. He's been very good. Plainsmen win that title. Hill City finishes in second. Goodland comes in third. Behind, thanks to Trent Sheldon, Braylon Mole finishing second and third, respectively, behind Fink in the individual standings. Wheatland Grinnell defend its home course. They win the Thunderhawk Invitational in golf yesterday. There is the Scott City Golf Invite today. There's plenty of baseball and softball on tap. You've got Colby baseball going to Lakin, Goodland softball going to Lakin, which we'll have coverage here on KLOE. You've got Colby softball hosting Haskell County today. Colby Community College softball and baseball in action this weekend as well. There's plenty of track today. You got the Holcomb track invite, the Oakley Invitational as well. Lots of stuff going on this Friday. It should be a beautiful day for it with temperatures in the mid-70s. All right, we just got a couple minutes left to go. Let's get to some quick picks of the weekend. Our new host is Garrett Wellbrock with picks of the weekend. What do we have, Garrett? Throw us the picks.
All right, we got 4 college baseball games, best of 3 series. So we're going to pick who wins the series. So we got the Sunflower Showdown, number 16, Kansas at K-State.
This is the juiciest Sunflower Showdown in a while because both teams have a lot of things on their plate that could mean things. So K-State's fighting to stay in the postseason hunt, to stay in, to make it to a regional, while KU is fighting to have the Hogue host a regional. I got Jayhawks taking 2 out of 3 in this.
I am right there with you. I think the Jayhawks get it done on the road. Not a very far trip for them. All right, second one. It's number 7, Texas A&M on the road at number 21, Florida.
Florida's playing really good after a very slow start to the start. They were bad in SEC play to begin. They're playing very well. Michael Early, the coach for A&M, he was on the hottest hot seat after his first year when they stunk it up. Guess what? They knew what they were doing at A&M. They hung with them, and now he's got one of the best teams in all of college baseball. Aggies on the road, 2 out of 3.
I agree with that one as well. We're sticking together right now. I'm going Aggies as well. They've been playing real well. They got a series from Texas. They look like a really good team to beat right now. And then at number 14, Oklahoma at number 11, Auburn.
Ooh, good one there. I've seen both teams play. Auburn is really good. They're at home. I'm going to take War Eagle at home.
This is my first upset pick. I'm going to go OU. Not that they're a closer team. That's the only reason. I mean, to me, it's a 50-50 matchup. It could go either way. I'll go 2 out of 3 for OU. All right.
Yeah, great pick.
Final college baseball one here. Number 5, Georgia, and number 17, Ole Miss.
Dogs just got beat here, I think, this past weekend in a series, I think. Or was it a midweek game the Dogs got beat by Georgia Tech? Maybe that's what it was. I'm taking Georgia over Ole Miss. The Mississippi teams this year not as good as they've been in the past, so give me Georgia. Go Dogs.
I'm going to rock with Ole Miss in this one just because they're at home, and I know they haven't had the season that they've wanted. Even though they're still ranked in the number 17, but they had expectations of being top 3, maybe top 5. Yeah, for sure. But I think they get it done at home. They're going to be fired up for this series. All right, let's move over to the NBA. We're only going to do game 3s just for the time's sake here.
Okay.
So we got 3 games tonight, 2 tomorrow. Game 3, Celtics at the 76ers.
I'm going to take Celtics. I don't have any explanation why.
I'm going there as well. They lost game 2. They're going to bounce back, even on the road.
I like the Kelly Green uniforms. How about that? There's my explanation. Next.
Lakers at the Rockets.
I'll tell you what, the Lakers, despite playing completely gutted on the roster, have played really well. I'm going to take Rockets, though. Bounce back in this one.
I agree, too. I'm going Houston as well at home. They're not going to lose 3 in a row. Now, I still think the Lakers can win in 5, but they will lose game 3. Next one, Spurs at the Trailblazers. Game 3, tied at 1.
Is Wemby going to play? Is he out with concussion? Anybody seen that yet? I haven't seen anything on that yet. I'll take Spurs.
I think he's going to. I think he plays. I heard it was 48 hours from the concussion protocol.
Oh,
it's
okay.
72 hours since last time they played. So
he's good.
Yeah. Spurs tonight, they take it. Game 3, Detroit loses game 1 to Orlando, but they bounce back. They beat them in game 2. Game 3 is in Orlando.
It was a wake-up call for Detroit. I think they take game 3.
I'm going Detroit as well on that one. And then my team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have won 2 in a row. They're up 2-0 at Phoenix.
Sweep. If you put a gun to my head, I'd say I'm a Suns fan, but there ain't nothing I like about this team. So sweep, and going to be OKC.
Yeah, this is probably the only sweep I see in the first round as well. Thunder, get it done.
There you go. Picks of the weekend right there with Garrett Wellbrock. I love the speed and the precision of that. Excellent job, young man. Fantastic work. There you go. Picks of the weekend. We're up against the clock. We're on to the walk-off, and we're out of here.
And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? pass to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Little bit of professional baseball update for you. The Rockies, God, they let one slip away yesterday. They had a big lead, and they end up losing 10-8 in a semi-Coors Field special. Gavin Sheets with a go-ahead 3-run homer in the ninth to complete the Padres' comeback and take 2 out of 3. How about Mickey Moniak, though? 4 hits and 2 home runs. He was left for dead in the Angels organization. He was the number 1 overall pick many years ago. Didn't do anything with the Angels. He's come to let thinner air, and he has regrown his career. Mickey Moniak, what a story, therefore, as the Rocks do head to New York to take the Mets this weekend. And then the Royals, they're back at the K tonight to host the Angels. They've lost 9 of 10, an 8-17 record, tied for the worst in the big league with who? The quiz question, who else has the worst record in Major League Baseball?
New York Mets, correct?
No, it's
it
actually the Phillies.
Wow, okay. I thought it was the Mets.
8-17 are the Royals and the Phillies. Worst records in baseball.
Wow.
Who would have thought? With the Phillies particularly. First pitch tonight, 6:40 Central. I'm at AM 790 KXXX. Real quick, Ross Volkmer pick of the weekend. Royals and Angels. Who you taking in this one? Hosted at the K.
You know, that's 2 not very good teams, really.
No.
Angels have surprised a little bit of people this year. I think Royals just can't score. I'll go Angels 2 of 3. As much as I hate to say it, I think the Angels get it done. Yeah.
Okay, just for fun, I'm going to go Royals. Royals, they get it done 2 of 3. Although I'm fascinated to see if Mike Trout, who had a massive game at New York a few days ago, massive series at the Yankees, if he has a big one there in Kansas City. That was awesome. Garrett, Wellbrock, I'm Ross Volkmer. We'll see you next Monday. Have a great weekend. It's been the Blitz.